Dr. Richard Amoako is a political scientist. He joins us on the phone lines, as well as Professor David Abdulai, Senior Governance Advisor, African Parliamentary Network. Gentlemen, hello, good morning.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'll start off with Dr. Richard Amoako. And Doc, again, thank you. Warm welcome to 3FM Sunrise. Before you joined us, we talked about a few hot topic items, and I want to pick your thoughts on that. Two members of Parliament. We've got Honorable Kwame Asare, or being popularly known as A+, as well as Honorable Yussif, former sports minister. They are going to be having some interaction with the NIB in a conference room in Parliament today. And a lot has been said about immunity when it comes to members of Parliament. Many people are of the view that this is a step in the right direction. I'll take your preliminary thoughts on this particular one.
Well, this is how it's done worldwide. It's not just doing it this time. And it's done because MPs should speak their mind without fear. Because they speak for the people. That's why it's done that way. But depending on what the issue is, it cannot be completely immune to everything. No. If you kill your wife, you should be arrested. If you act any criminality, you should be arrested. And so that part is there. But aside from that, if you make a pronouncement in Parliament, you cannot be stopped in any way. So that one is a step in the right direction to allow parliamentarians the ability to speak their mind. So it's a good thing.
Would you say that this process helps to balance out issues of accountability, as well as making sure that members of Parliament are not subject to, let's say, political harassment?
Well, the second point you made is more of it. For example, the last government that was in office intimidated people to the extent that 97 MPs want to remove the finance minister, and they were still not able to remove him. And then he pledged that he would campaign against them, and he did. And sure enough, many of them lost their seats. This is what is supposed to prevent. But it is not in itself. The party apparatus must also be that supportive. So if the president threatens your MPs, the party itself must support the MP to counterbalance it. Why would he do that when he's the one going out of office? Now you want to, because you're upset, what is it? Because your word is final, this is why it is there. But we don't pretty much, we don't understand what we are doing. We don't understand it, really. That's been fair. We don't understand it. And this is why they're just muddling through. It's why we constantly have problems, right? A president cannot do what Mr. Kuwato came to do. You are leaving office and you still want to dictate to the party. No. When you serve your term and you are leaving, you leave the scene and let the people themselves decide. You can still come back and be part of it, but the party does not belong to you. And this is what has happened. Intimidating people, harassing people, threatening people. It's called really party capture. That's what he did. And look at the result. Complete calamity. That's what happened.
Now, Doc, let's move on and talk about the issue concerning Reverend Intim Forjo. Now, he's raised some serious eyebrows with claims about internal sabotage and threats to Ghana's national security. He's talking about some alleged drugs and currency that he says came into the country. Should he also be a part of these meetings that the NIB will be conducting today in Parliament?
Well, if anybody, it doesn't matter your position, if you are making a serious allegation, it must be investigated. They cannot investigate it without talking to you. So it should be talked to. And if you are making such big allegations and they are not true, you have to be careful. You have to have facts to back your allegations up. So I don't see anything wrong with it. Sometimes people get intimidated, and because of that, for example, what the president said, the former president said, if you have evidence, bring it. Who has evidence? Am I ordinary citizens? Are we investigators? But once allegations are made, the responsibility of the government is not just based on that allegation to go and arrest someone. And it's the beginning point of investigation. Because if you didn't know that was going on, he has alerted you to it. So go and find out. And then if it is not what he thought, you come and tell us this is what you found, this and that. But don't turn around and fight with the person who is making the allegation. I don't understand it. And when that is done, it gives the impression that maybe there's something there. And indeed, there may not be anything there. So he made an allegation. Now he wants to backtrack that he was not serious or something. It is not good. This is exactly what the parliamentary rules are supposed to be.
Let me bring in Professor Abdulai in on this particular one. And Prof, how do you assess the happenings over the last week or so? And yes, exactly a week ago, I believe it was, Reverend Ntim Fojo, he's the member of parliament, Asin South. He called a press conference alleging some wrongdoing, some drugs coming into the country and so on and so forth. As you observe how the conversation has gone, what do you make?
First of all, Reverend Ntim Fojo is not above the law. Secondly, he should understand that when you make an allegation, you should have the evidence to support it. So I think calling him in by the NIB to answer questions is the right thing to do. Now, I should say that leadership is not a popularity contest. When you are a leader, you should set an example. And in this case, he's even a reverend, which is a man of God, so-called. So you should actually lead by example. And I think anybody in this country, anytime you make an allegation, whether you are a political leader or you are just an ordinary person, you have to be able to support your allegations. And I think I agree with Doc. That is exactly what should happen.
So you agree that, say, for example, today, as we're seeing Honorable Yussif, Honorable Kwame Asare going into Parliament, they're going to be in a conference room with the NIB. That is the same thing that should happen to Reverend Ntim Fojo, that he should be made to answer some questions and provide the evidence. Yes.
But I'm saying that, even because parliamentarians, whatever you debate or say in Parliament is covered, corruption is not one of them. But not only corruption. So, the NIB, if it has to do with issues of corruption, which I think there is an allegation on the former sports minister, they should answer questions. But I think, Ghana should start moving to the point whereby your positional power as, a politician or an MP or anything doesn't make you Lord of all creations. You should answer questions when you do wrong. That is how the rule of law is going to be fed in this country. So, yes, I support it. And I think it should be a lesson to all those parliamentarians when you just make things off the cuff without any support of what you allege. You should be holding.
Prof, thank you so much for your preliminary thoughts. I'll come back to Doc, and I want to pick his thoughts on this separate issue, and this has to do with the NPP. Now, Doc, you might recall sometime last week or the week before, former Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo was set to appear before the NPP's disciplinary committee for allegedly violating a party directive that bars members from making public statements that could create disaffection for the party. Subsequently, though, that particular meeting has been called off. I understand the NPP will be holding a separate engagement on other matters. Do you think that this issue should just be laid to rest and let tempers cool down? Or does Honorable former MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo have a case to answer with the party?
Well, I was going to advise the disciplinary committee that they should seize this opportunity, first of all, to apologize to Adwoa-Safo for what has happened to her in general and her parents and all of that. Because you need people. And don't forget, this is you used to be your senior MP, right? Don't behave as if you don't know her at all. People make mistakes. I don't condone everything Adwoa-Safo did. But he has suffered for the party. And we should see it as such. And so if they've called it off, it's a step in the right direction, right? You are trying to rebuild the party. You cannot rebuild the party by telling everybody to shut up. No, people have lots and lots of anger in them, it should come out. That's the only way peace comes.
I mean,
Party
even when
is
it soils the image of the party, is there a way that they can voice out?
Look, party is not a human being. You understand? It's a collection of people. Each one has his own outlook. It's just sometimes the purposes coincide. That's all. It's not a human being for him to be what you call a gunenumasi. You understand? It is not a human being. If bad people are in it, you should take the bad people out and bring in good people. That is what you are. When you do that, you are bringing the image of the party up. You see, you can't leave the bad people in there and expect the party to do well, and they are still in charge. It won't work. It's just impossible to work. And so they should look at that. Allow people to say the head they have in their hearts, myself included. There's so many people like that. I walk around Kumasi and they behave as if I tell them something magically, they'll be calm, they'll be satisfied. They are frustrated. They don't know what to do. And you want these people, same people, to go and vote for you. Go ahead and do it quickly like that. Hush, hush, hush. You'll be surprised the next time you lose colossally again. Then what are you going to do? So allow people to speak. I'm not saying forever. The party cannot be disgraced if you are being honest. When did honesty become a disgrace? You tell me. What? Is it not the lies that's a disgrace? What has happened to a party? Lies. We say things we know are not true. We're stealing money. Look at the containers. That is what is disgracing the party. Not anybody who is trying to bring sanity to it. The thievery and the gangsters and all the bad things they are doing. The party functionaries don't listen to anybody. They've all become like a gang. You understand? That is what is degrading the party, not the other way around.
Doc.
So if they didn't know, they should listen now.
Thank you
Allow
for
the
that.
people to speak. I'm not saying you should do it forever, but some things must come out.
You
And
say
some
the
party
people must not be
functionaries should
silenced.
arrested.
People who want to voice out must not be silenced. They should be given the opportunity to say what's on their heart,
Yes,
but not
some
forever.
things should come out.
Right.
It should come out. A party is not a secret society.
Prof, let me come to you on this one. And we know that every strong democracy needs a strong opposition. What advice then do you give to the NPP as they attempt to rebuild the party, as they say? According to the polls, one especially from Global Info Analytics, it's still not looking good for the opposition. From where you stand, what should they be thinking of?
You know, facts are stubborn things, and Doc was just mentioning some of the rot that went on within their party. And I think at the end of the day, there's no smoke without fire. Ajua's comments is not in a vacuum. She had to come out and say all these things because she felt she was wronged. But I would take a more like a conciliatory approach, whereby I think the top officials of the party should rather look at meeting Ajua just to be able to learn and probably better the party from that point of view, rather than going to give her punitive sanctions. If that happens, you know, you are further making sure that those who could have spoke up would all keep quiet. And at the end of the day, like Doc said, it is the party that is going to lose. I also think that in a democracy, so long as when I speak and I actually do not, character assassinate somebody, or I say something that probably I have facts to substantiate, I should be given the benefit of the doubt. And that applies to any political party, whether it's MPP or NDC. But in this part of our world, you have some people who think because they are leadership of a political party or their leadership in a particular institution, they try to take the law into their hands. Yes, sometimes you temper justice with mercy, especially in cases whereby even if the person is wrong. So in this case, I think she didn't make all these comments in vacuum. She had a reason, and probably her back was pushed to the wall. So that is why she came out. Yeah.
And Prof, should the MPP be looking at a complete overhaul of its leadership structure, or would you say it's more of an ideology and policy realignment?
Well, I wouldn't say overhaul of the leadership structure. I think they should really, learn what really made them lose. Some of the things that didn't inure to the Ghanaian populace that made them lose. And then see, you have to come up with a problem before you solve it. Diagnose the problem and solve it. But if you are going to, stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and you are not willing to listen to the truth, you're not going anywhere. So I think they should really encourage all those people who agree with them or not, to tell them the truth, nothing but the truth. And then they can begin the healing process. But if you want to put bandage on an ulcer, it's not going to go anywhere.
All right. Thank you, Prof, for that. Let me come to Doc. And Doc, many believe that the party, the NPP party, has lost touch with the grassroots. How does the party begin to reconnect with the grassroots?
Well, they began to listen to their own lies. That's the problem. And if you tell a lie so many times, you believe it. Breaking the eight. Look, it tells you now that these party functionaries were incompetent, abysmally incompetent. This is the worst record, you understand. Yet they thought that was the best one, breaking eight. How is that possible? It shows you that the party itself, the party operatives, did not know what was going on. They began to believe their own lies. We are going to win this, and we've done this, and we've done that. One nation, we are one factory, whatever, go there, there's nothing. They did all of these for too long. They have come to believe it. And these people who did those things should be weeded out of the party. You can't leave them in there and still think the party will do better. No, you do worse, the same as you did before, if you are lucky. So you have to get rid of them. I can see so many people who should not be in the party. When 2016, when I was campaigning, I didn't have to tell anybody anything. Amoako call me, Doc, where are you going now? I'm going to Asino. Okay, I'm going here. We'll meet in the evening. And you go. You don't ask for money from anybody. You help the best way you could. That's how it's supposed to be. The party has to have people who are committed to the success of the party, not people who just want money. That's what it became. When this president came, that's what the whole thing became, just looking for money. And even the money wasn't very good because you're giving money to go and share with the grassroots to help you. Then they take the money and don't do anything. How is the party going to get successful? No, it won't work that way. And if those people are still in the party, it's going to fail again. Maybe even more colossally this time.
Doc, thank you for that. Prof, I'll let you have the final, give us your final thoughts on this topic or the number of topics we've discussed, and then we can park it here for this conversation.
I would say we Ghanaians, including all the political parties, they should understand what I call the politics of the belly. If the common man in the village or, cannot get food to eat or is struggling, can they go and vote? So, any political party should know that if they're in power today, they should be careful. They should take care of the people. And one of the most important things is making sure that they can eat. And we cannot do that. And you talk about highfalutin things, this and that. They are not interested in that. They are more concerned about what they can eat, how they can take care of their families, how they can pay school fees, and so on and so forth. So it should be a lesson. I think if the NPP learns seriously, and I highlight this, seriously, from their mistakes that made them lose massively, then they can begin to come up. But if not, it's going to be like Doc said. It's going to be even worse. Yeah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time this morning. I know next time we'll have a longer duration to really sink our teeth into some more pertinent issues. But I'm very grateful you could join us this morning on Sunrise.